It's a wonderful morning here at Los Alamos at the lab. I wanted to thank Mike Anastasio and his folks, particularly those who were expecting to take the day off today after a Veterans Day holiday, to take this opportunity to have the governor-elect come up and see some of the things that are going on at the lab and look at the future of the lab. And I very much wanted to thank you for doing that for the governor-elect. And with no further ado, the governor-elect of New Mexico, Susana Martinez.
I don't even know what time it is. Let's see. It is right after lunch. Mr. Anastasio, I want to thank Mike Anastasio for hosting me here today and giving me certainly a deeper understanding of the lab's work and its impact on our economy in northern New Mexico. The nuclear deterrent has helped to keep the peace for over 60 years. The men and women of Los Alamos and its sister engineering lab, Sandia, do vital work making sure the deterrent is safe and secure and reliable. I commend you for all that you do, and all of your staff has been wonderful to us today. Our national laboratories are the scientific crown jewel of the nation, and we are fortunate to have them right here in New Mexico. In recent years, the relationship between the lab and state government has not always been positive. I want to see that change. I have pledged to Mike that I will work to make sure that the state of New Mexico protects the land we love and the water we need in a way that is professionally competent and predictable and based always on sound science. And I have asked the laboratory to meet me halfway, not only on compliance, but through its engagement in the community and the state. There are students who live just an hour drive away of the world-class science being done here at the lab who have no idea of the dreams they can achieve with a great education. I want Los Alamos to reach out even further from just within the hour from this drive, to inspire those kids and to help the state of New Mexico strengthen our math and science curriculum and teacher training so that our children are prepared for the jobs of the 21st century. And I want more of the technologies developed here, a tremendous taxpayer expense, to be transferred into thriving New Mexico-based businesses that create high-paying jobs. I look forward to working with you and all of your wonderful staff here at Los Alamos and certainly in Sandia as well. And I am committed to building a very bright future for our children and all in New Mexico. Thank you. Thank you all for your time. We have a wonderful facility.
So what did you learn today?
You know, some of the things I'm not going to be able to talk to you about.
Okay.
But we had a wonderful tour of especially the new construction that is being done, and certainly what they are doing to help our military, our men and women in Afghanistan to be safer so that we're not losing the men and women due to explosives. And I commend them for that work. And certainly all that they do, they can't tell us everything, of course, because of the clearance that I don't have at this time. But it is fascinating work, and the technology that is available, and the supercomputers that they have, and the jobs that will come with that. Our kids need to be ready for that workforce. That is what's most important, is understanding how we have to have the kids that are in school today ready to take on those high technical jobs.
Aren't
Thank
you
you.
glad to have Congresswoman Heather Wilson with you?
Absolutely. It has been, as the chairperson for our transition team, and certainly here at the lab, and Mr. Anastasio, it has been a great tour. Thank you.
I've got to ask you about the budget. 452 million instead of 260. Just your general thoughts.
You know, it's been the irresponsible spending that has taken place, and the numbers are changing constantly, and I have said that throughout the last several months on how the numbers are constantly changing. We are trying to get our arms around that budget and figure out exactly what we have. When projected revenue is not rational or responsible, then the current administration doesn't have to make the cuts that are necessary. And so we continue to see that grow. I think it'll continue to grow, even beyond what we are seeing today. We have asked for documentation. We're hoping to get that soon. Because unfortunately, I don't think that this administration has actually been forthcoming to not only the transition in reference to that information, but also to the legislature, who needs to make the tough decisions. And if they're not getting the proper information, then they can't figure out where to make the cuts that are necessary.
Are you angry?
I'm frustrated. I think it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating for New Mexicans not to know the depth of the deficit of our state government. It is very frustrating.
During the campaign, you said we're not going to touch Medicaid, we're not going to try not to touch education. Now that instead of 260 million, it's 452, does that change the equation at all?
I am committed to, one, not raising taxes, and two, making sure that we're providing the best funding for the classroom. We cannot afford to, one, abandon those that are most vulnerable. We have to make sure to provide the best care for the core services for those that are the most vulnerable in Medicaid, and we have to make sure to have the spending in the classroom. I can't give you more detail than that, just because we have to get that data from the Department of Finance Administration, and accurate data. That's most important.
Last one.
Just if I could ask Congresswoman Wilson, you sent a letter to Matt Condit talking about the movement of exempt employees to classified employees. How do you feel about all this?
It's Brian Condit.
I'm sorry.
I did ask for, on the 4th of November, when I was asked to serve as the transition chairperson, that they suspend any movement of political appointees into the civil service. I recognize that there are some folks who are political appointees who came from the civil service, and we've worked that on a case-by-case basis. We haven't gotten much cooperation on that score. And so we are trying to work directly with, if there are individuals who are moving back to the classified service who want to contact the transition office so that we can make sure that that's appropriate and they're paid what they should be paid. But what we don't want to see is someone who's a political appointee move into a job they're not qualified for and trying to keep their same high-level salary. That's just not right and it's not fair. And so I let Mr. Condit know that if that takes place, they will be fired on the 1st of January.
Gilbert Gallegos sent back in response to your letter a statement that was pretty scalding. Any reaction to that?
I'm a pretty tough cookie. Doesn't bother me. we just have to get the job done for the people of New Mexico. And we've got a freeze on in hiring. We've got a $250 million budget hole that just grew to $450 million. I don't think that political appointees from the previous administration should be burrowing in to civil service jobs they're not qualified for when we can't hire a social worker in Hobbs to go out and investigate child abuse. That's not the priority, and that's going to change on the 1st of January. And I'm very proud to help Susana Martinez get ready for that change. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.